adolescence, I convinced my mother to have my first manicure. As soon as she gave me permission, I ran to the beauty parlor, where I met Ada, the owner. She was nice and kind. She was always smiling and working. Her business associate was also her husband, so I also remember him entering and leaving with the parlor while Ada worked on my hands. One day, suddenly, the beauty parlor closed. Ada had been murdered by her husband. For me, Pandora's box was opened. For the first time in my life, I learned how a twisted sense of love can end a death. Pérdida de adolescencia, explains the author of Mujeres en Puerto Rico. However, sadly, her story isn't unique. Puerto Rico isn't known for its domestic violence, but for its beautiful beaches. This is why I never knew why my tias told me, no pases en la perla, which means don't pass through La Perla, which is a town, the most dangerous barrio of Puerto Rico, which is next to the most visited city, San Juan. In La Perla, the streets are literally filled with people who want to walk by you and rob you or rape you. Although the rest of the island is safer than La Perla, it still has the highest death rate by rape and gun violence per capita in the entire world. Girls starting at age 14 are put into danger until they are 28 because the laws do not protect them against domestic violence and rape unless they are married. Domestic violence and rape are violations of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, especially numbers 5 and 7, both concerning equality of persons and protection under cruelties against the law. Puerto Rico has been failing to fix their laws and have the police enforce them for numerous years, which results in many domestic violence and rape cases with little to no penalties for the abuser. Not only are the rapists free, the victims have barely any help or protection in Puerto Rico. This right is important to the women of Puerto Rico, all the victims who have gone through too many years of struggling with the danger of being abused or raped. They have been working towards a better life, raising awareness, and hoping police force will do a better job while taking a stand against domestic violence. Unfortunately, though, the women's efforts have done little to nothing, and because the government and the police force do not listen to them. My father is Puerto Rican. He lived there all his life, and when I asked him of the issue, he said it was like this for as long as he can remember. He started explaining to me that it was obvious that domestic violence still existed. However, they improved greatly since he was a child, and soon opened up to his story. He told me that he knew someone who was abused. He told this in Spanish, of course. It was when he was a teenager, and it wasn't even in a bar or anything. It was his friend's sister, Rosa, and it was done by her novio, her boyfriend. He seemed so nice, always bringing her flowers, but he hit Rosa and gave her black eyes and bruised her stomach and arms. But Rosa didn't even try to get help, because it wasn't like her family had the money to spend on something that didn't even exist. It was prevalent it didn't exist, according to the document called Island of Immunity, which showed tables explaining that the intimate partner homicides were on the rise, and the differences between the numbers in Puerto Rico versus Los Angeles was more than double every year. In 2011, it was 30 to 5. Although the overall number of domestic violence is lowering, the number is still alarmingly high. 16,925. These numbers could be explained by the Latino culture, where they feel that they are both dominant over each other. Since a man is usually stronger than a woman, he has easy power over her if he chooses, which could have helped shape this violent issues. However, Latino women are very mentally strong and are trying to change what is happening. But it doesn't really explain why Puerto Rico has the highest number of domestic violence, rape, and gun killings per capita, except for the fact that there are barely any laws protecting the victims if the laws and the police forces don't even enforce the laws that are there. Since 1948, when the UDHR was created, Puerto Rico has slowly made more laws to help. However, they are not nearly enough and aren't enforced. They made a law called Law 54, a law that increases penalties for an assaulter. But this law isn't all that it sounds like, because it isn't for anyone who is abused. It's only a spousal rape or spousal domestic violence. Even so, this law rarely works for marriage rape, because for the law to work, court judges have to be more consistent in their ruling, and the police would have to be more active enforcing Law 54. The overall domestic violence has gone down since they started collecting data. The police have started doing their job better, because the people are not asking for as many orders of protection, and the number of forcible rapes have gone from 509 in 1989 to 39 in 2010, which shows some order has taken place as well as overall awareness. There are some things that Puerto Rico could do to improve the state in which they're in right now. For instance, my recommendation would be that they need to better enforce Law 54. Puerto Rico has a long way to go to improve women's rights, but by changing Law 54, giving victims opportunities, and using their data, the country will improve their condition greatly. In Puerto Rico, they claim to have Law 54, however they do not enforce it. To begin, to make domestic violence less common, Law 54 enforcement would be a great step. This law is already in Puerto Rico, which makes the step easier to do. To review, Law 54 is a law that gives penalties to the abuser, but only if they're in a married relationship. Because of this reason, the law is abused, and people take advantage of this if they are not married, and get little to no penalties. For this to work, the government would need to alter the way the law is enforced. Changing the way the abuser would make the rates fall drastically, because now any abuser would be highly penalized. However, even after a rewritten law, many changes would have to be made, including education of the law, judge-rule consistency, and higher police enforcement. Law 54 puts the abusers in jail, but how about the victim? Puerto Rico's next step would be giving homes and services to those who have been abused. Currently in Puerto Rico, women struggle daily with government assistance to be able to pay for surgery or doctor's appointments for the rape, insistence, or domestic violence occurrence. Puerto Rico already has a couple of resources, which include the Rape Crisis Center, Coalition Against Domestic Violence and Sexual Violence, and La Oficina de Procuradora de las Mujeres. Some of these resources are just support hotlines or activist groups against domestic violence, neither of which give women the opportunity to get back on their feet completely. Without change, Puerto Rico will be in a downhill spiral forever. Domestic violence and rape rates skyrocketing higher and higher. But with small changes like fixing and enforcing Law 54, giving victims support systems, and using their data to the full use, Puerto Rico will start to flourish and change over time, affecting the lives of women everywhere. Thank you.